All right.
Okay, so nobody's getting the truth from the mainstream media, folks. It's well past time to open your eyes, your ears, and your mind. Do your own research, because something isn't right here. And if you can't see that, you are not paying attention, folks.
It's the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. Now that's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The important message that we need Australians to get vaccinated as quickly as possible. In line with that, I do encourage all Australians to please go and book your vaccinations as soon as you can if you haven't already done so.
Emma, get away!
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Okay, we need to stand up against this tyranny, folks. Stop giving away your freedoms and liberties, because the more you give up, the more these people will take until you have absolutely nothing left. That's their agenda.
Can't win.
All right.
I still can't.
Mate, we're trying to share the show out, Frank, and it's getting removed from platforms.
I can't comment.
I mean, a bit like a court case, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just never a new story.
Exactly right, brother.
Anyway,
Hey,
we're
dude,
trying to get it out there, guys. So, yeah, help us out, share it, get it out there, because they obviously still don't want it. One day a week, I'd like to get away with it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, one day a week, mate, and they're still frightened of us, mate. It's unbelievable, isn't it? But guess what? Thanks to Tulsi Gabbard, he's pumped out some really home truths, with the old Ouchie Fauci stuff that's all come out right now. So, I'll tell you what, that tinfoil hat that we've been wearing, Dave, doesn't seem to be fitting as snug as it used to, eh?
No, look, it's and there is, Frank. Yeah, as you saw, we're just having a discussion in the studio there before we come on, mate. But we've all got different ideas on what's happening here and what's going on. I do believe that we've got a play going on in the background. But again, how many plays have we ever seen in history that we know about? Because it could be all bullshit anyway, because it's history.
Yeah.
But how many plays have actually been won by the good guys? I don't see too many. I think the devil had his reign there, and so I'm hoping. And I know a lot of people are very keen on us actually winning this, and I hope we do. The amount of information that's coming out, people must be waking up. All right, the things that are being done to them day after day after day after day, they must be starting to see that, hang on, things aren't, it was Guru and those idiots on that channel, maybe they just knew what they were talking about, So, I'm here and I'm hoping, and hoping and praying that, we do turn this thing over, guys, I really do.
Well,
We have great things. Never has it happened.
I agree, David. And for me, it's all about, look, I mean, there's no question. I mean, all my faith is in the Lord himself. I mean, I've never swayed from that, But at the same token, I guess, even in this course, in this narrative that we've been involved in, right, and the home truths that are coming out, there's more that's going to be unveiled, mate. I just don't think, it was just on the surface level, and I'm starting to look at stuff, and like yourself, we're reading books, you've got the Ethiopian Bible and all the rest of it. There's so much more to discover because they've lied to us all our frigging lives, So, but yeah, I mean, it's just been a really good place. Been a good place of discernment. We have the power. That's the thing. People got to realize that, fundamentally, the people that have been in control of the whole world haven't been the brightest sparks in the world. You know what I mean? And so we do overrun them, but we've actually got to start believing that we've got that capability, that we can, be bigger and more wiser than they've ever been, So, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that the devil hasn't got this, bro. I really don't.
That'd be great. I'd be happy as a pig in shit, bro, as the term goes.
All right. Well, look, I can't share it out.
Lately, or being rolled.
All right, I can't share it out, so we're just going to hit the news. Right. So anyway,
no, can't see you on Twitter, but I can. So comment. Yeah, we know you're there. We can't comment.
All right.
Okay.
Look, we've got heaps of news to kick off, but have a look at this. This is the latest thing.
This is the first time the strain has landed on mainland Australia, and experts are worrying its arrival could threaten 100 native animal species, birds and mammals. State and federal government agencies meeting late yesterday, hatching a plan to stop the spread. But poultry producers are taking no chances. Ingham shutting down its operations in Western Australia. The $4 billion poultry sector worrying their industry could be decimated. Tom,
I know that bloke. I know who filmed that.
David. All right, so they're going
to Twitter, guys, and yeah, with the words, here we go, here we go, here we go.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't seem to be sticking. If you look at all of the comments, people are just basically not buying it, which is good because this is very interesting. So Elon posted this today, and it's the US aid funneled $53 million to EcoHealth Alliance, which funded the coronavirus gain of function research at the Institute of Virology. Elon posted and said USA funding was central to the creation of COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that, but as Franco just mentioned as well, and this has not been picked up by anybody in the media, but that's hardly surprising because they really don't like the topics that we cover. So this is Tulsi, and on her way out, she was basically talking about how Dr. Fauci provided millions in US tax dollars to fund dangerous gain of function research. So, and then covered up the truth. He asked the CIA to cover up the origins of the virus, everything about it as well. So it's just crazy times, but it is coming out, and that's really good because we actually have a prophetic word from Brandon Biggs later on in the show, but you can see now with Bill Pulte taking over, there's some movement happening that's shifting things, I think.
I think we're all prophets. We were saying this 4 years ago. We were telling them what went on.
Yeah, I agree. Can I just make a quick comment about that too, by the way? It's actually, I know that the mainstream media hasn't hit it, but we've got certain platform artists, like the likes of Isaac Butterfield and all those guys. They're actually going on with this. They've got this article and they're pumping with it, which is great because they're hitting a different audience altogether. But yeah, absolutely.
Look, we've got influencers that have woken up everywhere. There's that influencer. So what was his name again? Here he is, Asmongold. Asmongold spent 7 hours on his YouTube channel, okay, which is, I think he's got millions and millions of followers, and he was kind of on the left for a long time. And he read out the whole of the gang rape report for 7 hours on YouTube.
Wow.
And I think it had hit like 40 million or something like that. But he spent 7 hours reading out the whole of the inquiry. So yeah, very interesting.
Well, if I'd done that, I'd have no YouTube channel for a start. That'd be number one thing. Yeah.
No, of course not. But
and you'd have a right squad there, Dave, as well.
yeah.
All right, so here we had something interesting earlier on. We had the battle of the CCP and the MB about who's going to run Australia, and they've once been aligned, and now they finally might be locking horns. Let's have a look.
Why can't you answer the question, Minister?
Hey, the matriarchy, they keep button heads, don't they? What an embarrassment in our great country. Penny's getting over it, though. The veins are popping on her neck. Have a look at this.
Alliance. We have alliance partners.
Well, sorry, but your government has called Israel a friend and an ally. Because excuse me, I'm here asking you questions.
Yeah, and I'm entitled to answer.
All right, Senators. And we have answered.
You don't want you don't want the answer, do you?
I think you did answer, and I'm questioning that answer.
You just want to get angry at me.
Oh my God!
The minister
I think the minister, you just need to change your attitude a little bit. Honestly,
Senator,
it doesn't fool anyone.
Okay, Senators.
Well, Senator, your approach on these issues is not to listen to the answer because you just.
That's central casting.
Yeah. Penny
She'd
is
make
just
good
so
central
wrong.
casting.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, isn't it? But, look, the thing is that we've got a few battles that we've got to face, and one of them, of course, is all of this surveillance that we've got going on here.
How
many people don't realise, but you actually can't walk into an Australian supermarket anymore without facial recognition machine deciding how much of a criminal you are. Bunnings scanned the faces of hundreds of thousands of Australians across 63 stores, and the Privacy Commissioner ruled that it actually broke the law. Even Kmart was doing it. Every customer at the returns counter across 28 stores, face captured, run against the database, and the regulator found that it's illegal too. But the part you need to be worried about is that Bunnings actually appealed the ruling, and a tribunal said they can keep using it. So basically it's been legalised. Now when you walk into Coles or Woolies, cameras on the ceiling assign you a digital ID, and they track you down every single aisle. The self-checkout even films you scanning a lemon, and it plays it back to an AI so that it can decide if you've been honest or not. One Woolies store actually put 500 mini cameras on the shelf, and Coles even hired Palantir, which is the same surveillance company the military uses to crunch your data. So how many of you knew that? I'm not even finished. The smart gates, it locks you inside until the AI decides that you've paid for everything. Theft is the reason they give every single time, but investors were actually told that cutting theft back to previous levels could lift Coles' profit by up to 9%. So this was never really about keeping you safe. It was chasing the money, basically. Except now you're the product, the suspect, and the checkout worker all at once. Welcome to 2026, where being treated like a data point instead of a human is the new normal.
That's good.
Well, now what's interesting is I don't know if you've seen this, but remember some years ago when they went big on Australia about the green laser pointers?
Mm-hmm.
So there's this guy from the States.
You know those flock cameras that have been popping up all over the U.S., right? Do not, under any circumstances, point a high-powered green laser at the flock cameras. This cannon will permanently damage and or disable the cameras and require them to be replaced and cost the company money. So please, under no circumstances, do this.
Getting one tomorrow, man.
Then, I mentioned these green lasers, 2-3 years ago, that they could do damage, and don't use them. I'm not telling you to use them, but you can get them on the net.
All right, so we have a whole heap of issues colliding here with Australia. One of them is the superannuation assault.
For property investors, the property market, anyone interested in property. Now, the government has just killed property investing, utilizing your superannuation into residential property. The first thing that I do want to say is this. What is actually happening with superannuation? Well, a lot of investors up until now have been utilizing their superannuation to buy an investment property. There was a rule that allowed superannuation to borrow money, like you do in your personal name to buy a property. Superannuations were doing that, and that was increasing their super balance and increasing their overall returns. It's been a very popular strategy. It's now come to an end. So this was a benefit for older generations. This will not be a benefit for the generations moving forward. This is one wealth creation pathway which has been eliminated for younger Australians. Very sad for them. What I do want to say is that in terms of new supply of property, there is a huge impact here. What a lot of people don't know is that new construction, new developers, new builders, new landowners, much of that new supply is funded by superannuation. Mum and dad superannuation, not big superannuation, mum and dad self-managed superannuation funds. Let me give you an example. Let's say you've got a townhome development, beautiful townhome development, 100 townhomes. The developer needs to show the bank that 50 of them are sold before the bank releases the money for construction to start creating new supply. So that developer will go out and try and sell 50 of them off the plan, okay? Now what actually has been happening is 20, 30, 40, sometimes up to 50% of those sales have been done by mum and dad investors with a self-managed super fund buying those properties with their super. Now, because of this change, I can promise you that tens of thousands of new properties will never come to market. You see, new construction requires funding. Someone has to fund it. The taxpayer has to fund it through taxes. Social housing. Big organizations need to come in, like BlackRock and offshore investors, and local companies with money have to come in and build it, or mum and dad investors can build it. Now, the advantage of mum and dad investors doing it was, whilst they were funding the build of new supply, they were also preparing for a self-funded retirement so that they would not be a burden on the Australian taxpayer, the younger generation today, into the future. Taxes would not have to keep increasing because of our aging population. So the unintended consequences of these changes: less supply, higher rents for renters because of less supply, less pathways for younger Australians to get their break-free money, their freedom money, their $3 to $5 million lump sum. By the way, that's what I teach Australians to do, how to get their $3 to $5 million break-free money, freedom money, so they can escape the system. And guys, the pathways are becoming less and less and less. Speak to your advisor, speak to someone on my team, get the right advice.
Exactly what they designed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Problem, reaction, and there's a solution for you.
Yeah. Well, actually, Franco, that's so strange that you would say that, the Hegelian dialectic, because I was going to go into that a little bit later. Because you have a situation with the immigrants situation where you've got the ministers going, oh, no, well, we need them to build houses. You have the Hegelian dialectic actually being verbalized or actually verbed. So basically, they're creating the situation by mass immigration or exacerbating the situation, and then because they can't actually build anything, or they're bringing in unskilled labor or lesser skilled labor, that then they go, oh well, we need. So we're just bringing in people to build homes for themselves. And then on top of this, now anyone who's watching, I need you to actually find a way of finding out if this is true. Okay, it seems legit, but I don't know if it's true. So let's have a listen to it.
Living in Australia and you're over immigration, you're going to want to hang around for this story. So without going into too much detail, because let's be honest, I don't want anyone to find where I am, where I work, but let's just call it this. I work for a company who assists with the housing industry. Let's just say that. Now, I don't want to generalise. I want to be a bit more broad and say that I had some clients who came in today and were looking at what we offer, and they were not from Australia, so they were definitely not Australian. Not only did they speak in their own language around me, which I found...
I'd have to leave it there. That doesn't, the original does not have that sound at the back of it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
You know
no.
what?
I've seen the original. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so it doesn't have it there. So I don't know what they're doing, but they're messing with me again. But that's nothing unusual. All right, she goes on to say that there's four people to a house. They get 50 grand each from the government. So they're putting in 200 grand. They're buying a house. So we need to know if this is what's actually going on, because this is just outrageous what they're doing.
Kaz, they've been doing this for as long as I can remember. And the biggest problem here, in Australia, right, is that we're crying wolf now, but we weren't crying hard enough back then, right? And that's the problem, you know. So we're in this situation where, you know, there's it feels like it's inundated, right? And because I don't believe their narrative. I've never trusted the government's narrative whatsoever. Because if they're saying this, I can tell you now, it's always going to be the polar opposite. And what we're seeing, you know, it's just a sense of fear porn. But more importantly, though, Australia needs to wake up. This is all about waking up.
Oh, but Australia is waking up. You know, there's, you know, so you have the 50 grand. So we need somebody to put in FOIAs and find out if that's for real or not. I've actually sent it to Michael Craig Griffiths.
And if it is, I reckon in groups of 20, we get 50 grand each, and we go and buy out the back of the hinterland up there. You know, it's up behind.
We're not immigrants. We don't qualify. And then on top of
I'm
that,
going to take you out on the boat. I'm going to put you in a little raft, and I'll watch you come back. You can row in, and you can be in your mirror. Simple.
All right. So, and then on top of that, you've got this situation, which is even more outrageous, because they're now our government is giving money to offshore companies.
Yeah.
It's in $1 trillion of debt. Yeah. I've got some bad news. We just gave $258 million to an Indian government-owned renewable energy company. I can't fucking make it up. This government-owned agency, Export Finance Australia, is responsible in supporting businesses in getting contracts overseas, essentially. But somehow that support translated into giving $250 million to an Indian company. The defense of this government agency is that it's meant to strengthen ties in the Indo-Pacific region. It shows Australian businesses that there are opportunities in India. I mean, kind of fair. No one wants to invest shit in Australia under the Labor government. Even if there was no cost to the taxpayer, isn't it kind of telling that a government agency wants to send $250 million overseas as opposed to helping businesses here? Our manufacturers, our businesses are struggling with energy costs. When I say that we have a government that looks after everyone else first before ourselves, just trust me on that.
And it's
Thanks for the Lima Declaration. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
No, that's right. You know, and you've also got these other situations here where you've got this one here so remember that couple, the judge threw out the fact that the video.
Yeah, the two nurses. Yeah.
The two nurses.
Yeah. What a joke.
Talking about
wow.
So they could basically get away with it. Well, but the problem that you've got is that kind of stuff trickles down. So time it happens, I get sued for nearly $500,000 for someone else mentioning someone else's name. Yet, no, we can't have that video recording. Yeah, this is just insanity.
Hey, Dave, if I saw them laying in the street, I'll just let them die. Hey, it's called touche, isn't it? If it's good for the goose, well, it's good for the gander.
No, it's called a two-tier system, mate. That's exactly what it is.
It is called a two-tier system. This guy, and that's what this guy who is a ex-police officer, he's talking about how magistrates are being educated.
Seeing me, my name is Steve, and I'm an ex-major crime detective in Victoria, 25 years. I've got half a clue of what's going on, but I'll get to that more later. This video is about deportations and immigration level. I've done a lot of research on it. Now, I've got some notes, so when I look to the side, that's what I'm doing. So it's interesting that in 2025, we had 301,000 migrants come into the country. That comes down to between 800 and 850 each day. Out of that, 50 a day come from either North Africa or the Middle East. That's, if you times that by 7, that's 350 a week coming.
I've grabbed the wrong clip.
Okay,
downloaded the wrong
that's an
clip.
interesting one anyway.
Is he
Yeah,
still a
that's it.
copper?
Yeah, ex-copper,
Probably
but
not.
he was talking about how magistrates, he goes on to talk about how
North
magistrates
Africa.
are being educated when dealing with immigrants or recent arrivals, not to send them to jail because then they might get deported.
Or Middle East. Go to deportations. 2025 is not reported. 2024 was 1,450. Breakdown of that, mainly New Zealanders for assaults, and that's understandable because the New Zealanders have a few beers and, you know, they're working at the pubs and all that, but underneath they're all good people, right? 2023, so the latest figures that Tony Burker, as I call him, from Home Affairs, they haven't published anything since post-2023, but in 2023, deportations for crime related, that's all kinds of crime, were only 626, and the highest number then again was New Zealanders. English, way down the bottom, was Sudanese and other nationalities not specified. But if you just look at the 350 a week, that's each day, 50 a day coming from Middle East, North Africa. When I say North Africa, I'm talking about Somalia, Sudan, Eritrea, those places, Middle East, well, you know, countries from there. So, you know, it only accounts for about 10% of the migration, but it's still a lot of people coming in each day. And I want to say that we go back to Bondi, okay, those two.
Look, he goes on about that, but this other one was the one that I wanted to grab for the show, and I didn't grab it, so sorry about that. Yeah, comment.
Well, the thing with that too, Dave, just is that you know, think of all the rallies that happened in Victoria. You're probably still in the force at the time when people were screaming at him, telling him about the fact that we're unconstitutional, and blah 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 blah. And now he's decided to have a moment in time. You know, like seriously.
Well, the thing is that people are being squeezed now, so everyone's looking for answers, and you can see why. Like with the amount of this is England now.
Hey!
Exactly what they want. Yep.
Was that toilet paper?
That's it. Look, and I picked this one up because this is when we say it's by design, it's because they have spent many years writing about what they're going to do. They have no way. They have no desire to hide it from themselves. They have no need to. Okay, they just don't expect that we're actually going to have a read of it and find out what's going on. So you have now Peter Sutherland. He was the representative to the UN for migration, and he said this: we must use migration to turn the English people into a minority in England. This will allow us to undermine the identity of the native English and import a new majority that will end the very idea of England. This is crucial for globalism to take hold in England. So it's being used as a weapon, and that's why, certainly in my view, that we need to actually turn this around, and they need to all go back, because having somebody come here to integrate is completely different from this multicultural narrative that's being pushed.
Like criminals.
Where they're being imported to be used as a voting bloc, to actually hinder us. So because they're a weapon, if the government thinks they're a weapon against us, then they need to go back. It's as simple as that.
Guys, they're not keen. We exposed it to you a while ago. All right, they're buying all the they're shutting down the crayfish licenses in Western Australia, buying the boats, refitting them. All right, I've told you how much money that costs. Okay, latest satellite gear, all the bullshit, and then take them over so that the immigrants that are coming in have got safe passage.
Yeah.
I mean, what
But,
else
you
do you
know,
want to know?
the thing is, though, when you think of this whole immigration crisis, right? You know, the world structures have always been around that, Kaz, you know, from, you know, they've divided us on language, they've divided us on countries, they've divided us on so much. You know, I don't know. I have a whole different take on this. It'll probably take too long to talk about it on the show. But my whole take on the whole thing, it's completely different. I see it completely differently. There you go.
Well,
yeah.
you're allowed to, and that's why we have all different views.
That's right.
You know, but like the thing is, the one thing you've got to commend Australians for is they always find a way to make it funny or make it light. Okay.
In this Australian budget, the Australian government is future-proofing your lifestyle. We're helping your parents sell their investment properties now, so you won't have the burden of inheriting them later. That money goes straight to the overseas builders we'll bring in to fix the housing crisis. Builders who'll be living in the homes your parents just sold while they build the ones you still can't afford. And don't worry about those rising interest rates. Since AI is taking your job anyway, you won't even have to worry about a mortgage. So don't ask your parents for a deposit. We've already helped them spend it. The 2026 budget, authorised by the Make Fun of the Australian Government, Canberra.
It's unreal, isn't it? You know, like...
Go Aussies.
Yeah. I actually got a message from the Labor Party today. I put it on Twitter, if anyone wants to have a look at it. Okay, but guys, it was asking me to go in and donate to the Labor Party. So Guru went in there, okay? And
Go on, Dave.
he got to the page where it says report a problem. And he's go away, you scammers. You tax us 70% of our money and then ask for a handout. Albo, you're a lying scumbag. Still at your mansion, you flogged from Guru. So that went into the complaints department. They didn't get a cent out of me. Never will. But yeah, guys, you know, these guys are just like, I don't know, I'm gobsmacked. Just sending out messages. And you know where it starts? It starts at $35. And works its way up to $1,500 donation. Nothing under $35.
But then, Dave, all charities have done the same.
Hey, it's the Stop Pauline Hanson. That's what it's all about. It's a Stop Pauline Hanson fund. It's unreal, man. I'm loving this. This is like back in World Wrestling.
Well,
a bunch of actors, you know.
Yeah.
They are all coming out, and the reason why you can see the reason where the sentiment of the Australian people is. So you've got Claire O'Neill. She's coming out with this.
They are inert. They are cowardly. They are frozen. If you can't stand up and defend multiculturalism in our country, you should not be the leader of a mainstream political party. We are the proudest and most successful multicultural country in the world. I am so sick of watching the Liberals and the Nationals get eaten alive by One Nation. They are inert. They are cowardly. They are frozen. When are they going to stand up and fight against the absolutely outrageous nonsense that One Nation are spreading right around this country? You know, Pauline Hanson says there are no good Muslims in Australia. Why can't Angus Taylor stand up and call that racism? Because that is what it is. People elect us to Parliament to lead, and I want to see some leadership. I don't want it just to be left to Labor to defend Australian values against what One Nation is doing to this country. Angus Taylor and the Nationals need to stand up and start punching back.
Yeah, it's an Eastern Star communism.
You are an absolute flog, lady.
Well, the thing is, what she's trying to do is she's trying to hopefully trying to gaslight us all about it. But the thing is, it's not working. It's not working. So, you know, like you have the situation. I get that, you know, Pauline has decided to I get that people have got problems with Pauline, but we actually might have an opportunity to have a win out of this, and that's with this. I went along to this on Saturday night. It was really excellent. Liz Gunn, amazing woman, speaks incredibly eloquently. You have also Rod Cullerton was there, but they're having another get together. That's in the Q room at Thomastown in Melbourne. Nicola Charles will be there. Darren Dixon will be there. Andrew Brigden, he's Skyped in as well at the time. He actually gave us a heads up on the night. He said, that Starmer was going to resign on Monday. Then he gave us a heads up about the person who was taking his job, just said he's worse. So now Rod explained his strategy, which is to have the Senate. He only needs 5 people in the Senate if he can get 5 people. But their whole objective is to restore the lawful governance in Australia. So if we might actually have to get on board and say, yeah, guys, go we can get a beachhead by saying, okay, vote for Pauline Hanson. And then if Rod's got 5 people in the Senate, they can actually hold them to account and make sure the restoration
of One Nation account. Yeah.
Hold One Nation to account. So it's a possibility that there's a strategy that's kind of like that could be in play.
And if she does get into power, exactly what is going to happen, right? Her feet need to be held to the fire, mate, and there needs to be someone in there that will speak to the people and hold it to the fire, not more of this political bullshit.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
100%.
Well, that's it. So you've also got this situation here with this about the Israel. Israel. Gina, what on earth were you thinking? No, we don't. Australia first, mate.
Given free land in Australia so they can build a military industrial base while Australians can't even afford to buy a home in their own country. A proposition is being made in Australia that would give Israelis free land so they can build military drones and advanced weapon systems in Australia. And the proposition is being made by billionaire Gina Rinehart, and she is pushing hard to hand over prime land near Townsville, Queensland, to Israeli defense companies and their families, offering them not just free land, but also free transportation. And all of this while Australians are struggling to afford their own homes. This isn't an isolated incident. Similar complaints are coming in from all over the world, like Cyprus, Thailand, Argentina, and across Latin America, where Israelis are accused of buying up huge amounts of land just to create their own enclaves, pushing locals out in the process. And it looks like Australia is next in line.
Well, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Been saying for 4 or 5 years, guys, is they're not go there, I'll get locked up again.
They haven't called this the Great Awakening for no reason at all, Dave. It's got to turn to shit before it actually gets better, and it's turning to shit.
Mate, they're all the same, mate. You know, like what's Gina doing bullshit like that? It's just a fucking joke. We used to lead the world in everything, man. You know, if you need a drone built, Australia. You know, we would have been first in manufacturing. You know, not in this present climate, but you know, if the climate had been the same as what it was through the 70s and 80s before they started to tear us down, you know, all medical, everything, guys, engineering. You know, we become leaders in the world in what we've done.
But it was never supported, Dave. You know, look at all these great people in Australia that created all these great products, but in order to actually get anywhere in the marketplace, they had to go overseas to sell their wares, and then we end up buying it back. They never got governmental support, and all our intellectual property has literally been handed over. They've given it all away, you know. So, and I mean, and as far as China's the leader. If anyone, don't kid yourself, China's way ahead of the game. Well, guess what? I mean, we were part of that. We created it.
Yeah.
All right, so we also had this unusual thing that happened the other day when the Matildas got banned from the USA. But this is the House Judiciary. Jim Jordan's ahead of that.
Socceroos. It was a Socceroos, and they were ripped off. There was 3 penalties in the game. It was a load of bullshit. The ref went down with cramp at the end. I've never seen a bigger farce in my life, and we were ripped off. Anyway, go on.
This is the House Judiciary.
Go on, Kaz.
You go, Franco.
I see that as we're 53. Right? The Five Eyes. So you've got, look at Keir Starmer. He's gone in the wind. Now, the World Cup is now played in 3 nations, Canada, Mexico, and the USA, and it's never been that way. It's only been ever supported by one country at a time. That already indicates that, guess what? They're no longer separate nations anymore. And judging on that, we're next. That's
the House Judiciary. It's the House Judiciary. So I'm thinking RICO, and I'm thinking, the executive orders. So why would the House Judiciary put that out? That's their formal channel. So I think that it's very interesting, and I think that you probably could be right. There's something cooking there. You also have the Q drops that have been coming out, and it started off with a bit of a storm on, was it Saturday? And it was this post here, and it says, this is the official White House channel. It says the White House will be Q posting today. Then it scrolled down to the bottom, and it says basically Q as in quantum.
Yeah. What that also means is when I was talking about us being the so-called 53rd, and that's pretty much it. That's it in a nutshell. That's part of the Great Awakening. And as far as the executive orders were already put on Australia in 2020, and that's when Caroline Kennedy was the representative, and she did an expose on 60 Minutes, and then the expose was the cure for cancer. But the cancer was a metaphor. It wasn't about the cure for the illness of cancer. It was the cure of getting rid of the cancer that's actually doing treasonous behavior, right? So that's how I see that. Yeah.
Well, and if people are thinking Frank's far-fetched here, no, it's not. You have to understand that these people have these secret handshake groups. They have their own laws that they have to abide by. So this is a revealing of the law. So it's been flipped around on them for certain reasons. You can see that with the UFC fight, which I can't go into now. Josh Reed does a really great breakdown on it. Okay, let's have a look at this though. But then it was followed up. This is the Department of War. Okay, quantum dominance. Are you enjoying the show? Refill your popcorn. You'll love the next part. So that's actually straight out of the Q drops.
Yeah, and it's and we're definitely on our way. There's no question about it. It's all coming down, and that's what we're seeing. In terms of the Great Awakening, this is the mass destruction, right, of all this stranglehold. All those corporate strangleholds are all coming down. They're running for the wind too. A lot of them are, CEOs stepping down left, right, and center. Off you go, Dave.
Stay away.
Hey?
You said stay away.
Oh, stay away from the microwave popcorn, guys. All right, if you're going to get popcorn, pop your own, okay, because you don't want to poison yourself over a good thing. Okay, and if you're popping popcorn, well, you obviously think this is a good thing, and I'm right behind you. Go for it. But do not pop that microwave popcorn. If you give it to your kids, you're an absolute idiot.
All right, and then, of course, there's been a whole litany of videos that have come out on the aliens, and some of these now, they're all AI generated, guys.
Gonna need a big guitar, boss.
Need a trailer.
Well, exactly. That's how the thing is fake, is because, like, how on earth, as if you're going to have somebody like that size going in that. But just to know that but the interesting thing is that they're not being grok checked. But also they're not. The White House is not really. I don't know. It's very strange. So, and then just the last thing I wanted to finish up with as well is this by Brandon Biggs.
He said, "I'm bringing in my A team. I'm bringing in the team. I'm bringing in my closers." He called the people the closers. I said, "Why do you call them closers, Lord?" He said, "Because you were built for pressure." And he knows I love sports, and in baseball. The closers are built for pressure. They don't fold under pressure. The pitchers, whenever it's the bottom of the ninth, the bases are loaded, they are built for pressure. And he said, "I'm calling in my people who are built for pressure. In these last days, you're my closers." And I saw it just like it was in the basketball whenever you had the Olympics and you had
He's been extremely accurate. Brandon Bigson, God believes you've been called at the moment because God's bringing in the closers to close the deal.
Yeah, he is. And it's happening all around us. I believe that genuinely 100%.
That's it. All right, we're at time. So we're being taken out by a newbie. And so, what's it called again? I'll just have a look at that. I can't bring it up. New Australian band anyway, or actually it might be AI generated, but it's really good. So, Franco, if you'd like to have some final words, Dave, if you'd like to close the show, I'll hit play.
Yeah, well, this is the Great Awakening, Australia, and you're seeing your country literally collapse on a whim. You're seeing, the old saying is you can't tell people, you must show them. Well, you're seeing it now, right? Everything that we've said in the last, God, I can't remember now, it's been that long. For the years that we've actually been trying to wake the Australian public up and tell you everything that's been happening right now, where you wouldn't believe us. But guess what? You're seeing it with your own eyes now. And so when they say enjoy the popcorn or enjoy the movie, well, we actually are watching a movie right now. So buckle up, folks, because it's only going to get worse, before it actually gets better. But and like I said, I'm in a really good headspace. I'm actually enjoying it, and seeing this place implode, because it doesn't matter how much we've actually talked and said whatever. But at the end of the day, now you're seeing it. We're no longer conspiracists anymore. Take pleasure in that, everyone. That's for me.
Well, on the voice of a movie, yeah. Well, I believe there's some big scenes incoming, Frank. That's what I believe, mate. Yeah, persecution's rife, deception's rife, but guess what? The people are waking up to it all.
Yeah.
So, well done again, folks. Keep it up. Keep sharing the news. Keep telling the truth, okay? Because people can't deny it anymore. All right? They just can't. They are seeing it, just like Frank said. It's not about hearing it now. You're actually watching it. Every time you open the front door, every time you turn on the friggin' mainstream media, you are watching and listening to an unveiling of unprecedented bullshit. It's all coming out, guys. Good night.
This is Australia. Don't ask why. True blue, I'm Aussie through and through. This is Australia. Don't ask why. Our country is the prize. Yeah. Chuck on the telly and they're pushing commie lies. Elbow in his mob, spitting promise after promise, watch them all fly. Protect the nicest brides while our streets bleed red. Bondi terror attack, never forget what they said. Migration flooding on purpose, students skilled temps. No real vet in disguise to rig the system. Install their one party state, they're setting dark forces. Look in the mirror, you're projecting evil as a face. It's Elbow and his cronies deflecting. This is Australia. Don't ask why. And through. This is Australia. Don't ask why. Our country is the prize. Yeah.